Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. In today's video, we will be doing a long-range outlook. So right now in the short term, I will be going over in the next 1 to 2 minutes what is going to be going on. But there isn't going to be much. So I decided to look at the long range and show you guys what may be approaching and what to look for. So as I said, I want to start off by looking at the short range. So right now it is Saturday, 7 p.m. local time here. And notice that we do have a few things going on across the United States. We do have a little bit of moisture and monsoon activity across the southwestern and western United States. And then we do have that lingering cold front across the northeast. Now, if you were to take a look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies, you would see that it is still very, very below average. I'm sure you've been feeling it. I remember I was talking about this cool down for a while, so hopefully it did not catch you off guard. So notice that as I put this forward into time, this is again September 6th, 7 p.m. local time, this cool air lingers for quite a while across the Midwest, the Northeast, even the South for the next few days. That's going to be the main story. It's going to be pretty quiet, but again, pretty cool. Not everywhere, as you can see across the central western United States and southwestern Canada, it will be pretty warm. And in fact, there will be anomalies there that are actually increasing in intensity, and we'll be approaching 15 to 20 degrees above average. As this cool down fades, by the way, again, at the very right-hand corner, you can see the timestamp. That is the current time of what this map is displaying. These are anomalies, so it shows below and above average. In the blues, it's below average. In the oranges, it's above average. And then notice that into Tuesday, as I put this forward into Wednesday, the cool air lingers across the east, but it continues to fade. So it's going to become warmer across many of these areas as we head into the longer range. So now we're looking at September 10th, 7 p.m. And once we get past this range, we begin to look more into the medium and long range forecast. And what we see is warmth. There will be a major pattern change taking shape, and it won't be in the form of cold. So if you're enjoying the cold air across the east and the north, and wherever it may be, enjoy it while you can, because summer is not over yet. And in fact, there will be some places that probably still see 90s that are right now seeing 40s during the day. So during the night and the day as well, to be honest. Some of these anomalies are going to be crazy. Notice that as I put this forward into September 11th, September 12th, September 13th, the cooler air really is just confined to southeastern Canada, the northeast, and maybe portions of the extreme southwest and southeastern United States. But this heat is very present across much of southern Canada and the northern and central United States. And as I put this forward, September 13th, September 14th, look at some of those anomalies above average across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Incredible. And into eastern, western Ontario. If you were to take a look at the 2-meter temperature shaded, you have 80s, even 90s, as far, way far up into Ontario and Saskatchewan, where these same areas just a few days ago were seeing snow showers, and now they're going to be in the 90s. So yes, this weather is definitely bipolar. Notice that as I put this forward towards the 14th, the 15th, this heat doesn't go anywhere. It's stuck, it's trapped, and it's across the very similar areas, which is why this is a little bit of a concerning pattern developing. It's a little alarming, because if you have such high heat, especially across these densely forested areas, it's going to result in potential wildfire danger. In terms of drought, it could definitely exaggerate things. But at this point, a lot of the farmers, a lot of the crops are already done growing. So it's actually going to help dry things out. So that is at least a little bit limited. But nonetheless, extreme heat. And you can see that this thing continues spreading eastward very slowly as we get towards the 18th, 19th. Now again, it depends. We still have to wait and see how this exactly unfolds. But let me tell you right now that a lot of the models have been showing this. The European, the GFS, they're in agreement about mid to late September being very hot and anomalous across much of the eastern and northern United States and central Canada. As you saw, there could be a little bouts of cool air that remains to be seen. It's not set in stone, and at this point I would be leaning quite significantly towards the heat. If you were to take a look at the European model, again, the timestamp is in the upper right-hand corner, 7 p.m. September 6th. Currently, this is what it looks like, and as I run this forward, I won't focus too much on this because I already did with the GFS, and in the short range, they agree quite well, the European and the GFS. And again, in this video, I want to focus more on the long range, not the short range where this cool-off is. And notice, it's the same thing as the GFS. It wipes that cool down. We have a lot of heat building across southern Canada, right, and then across the central United States. And as I put this forward towards the middle part of the month, 14th, 15th, 16th, the heat is definitely a lot more present than the warmth. And it includes much of, again, the eastern United States, the southern United States, southern Canada. The European does introduce a little bit more cool air into the central plains, but again, that varies model run from model run. And you can see just the further I push this out, the heat gets further and further intensified. So again, I'm very confident that this thing is going to be a very hot pattern coming up. I want to run briefly through the Ensemble families now. So this is the European family. It's up to 51 models conglomerated into one image, an average look, just to show you that the European and GFS aren't outliers. They agree with their Ensemble family. And I'm speeding through this. Notice this is now September 11th. We have that cool down that is gone. We have the heat building across much of the northern and central United States. This is around the 240 hour out time frame. So the medium range getting into the very far out look, and just look at the heat. It just continues building with more and more and more intensity. And again, this isn't surprising and shouldn't be, because in my official fall forecast, I did call for a very, very warm fall. I do think a lot of the central and southern Canadian areas and central United States will be dealing with really, really warm temperatures. Now, same thing with the GFS family. So this is another family of 30 plus models. Again, this is the short range still. This is September 9th, September 10th. We are getting now towards next week. And you can see that the heat spreads. The cool air is slowly washed away. And as this keeps marching forward, this is now the 15th of September, 16th of September. Pretty much everywhere is experiencing above average temperatures, maybe excluding the southeast there due to tropical activity with cloud cover. Everything else is warm, and these anomalies are strong. So let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day outlook. This is unfortunately just including the US, but again, the weather doesn't stop across the border, so anywhere that it's above average across the northern United States, the southern prairies of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, British Columbia will also be above average here. Same goes with, Ontario and whatnot, and Quebec, I should say, for the northeast. They're probably a little cooler from the 12th through the 16th. But yeah, you can see it's really, really warm across much of the United States. That's what they think will be happening, and I agree with that, as you saw based on the models. In the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, so again, that same time frame, but for precipitation now, they favor where that cooler air might still reside across the eastern and northern United States. They favor a drier pattern as that high pressure spins all the moisture away. But across the western third, if not just half of the country, it's going to be above average with quite a bit confidence across Washington and Oregon, as we could have some northwestern flow from a large jet stream Pacific moisture moving in there, so that's definitely gonna help with a little bit of that heat. But yeah, potential lot of thunderstorm activity, which may help with the heat, but may also be the reason why some wildfires may ignite with some lightning. As we go towards the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, so this is further out, just like the models were showing, the further out we go, the Climate Prediction Center also thinks it will be more expansive, that warmth. And again, they are pretty confident in some of these colors. 8 to 14 days out, with them showing 60 to 70% confidence across some of these areas is very high. Again, the only areas that may be cooler are across the eastern seaboard during this time. Anywhere elsewhere, warmth. And notice for the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, so again, same time frame as the just I showed you with the temperatures, but now the precipitation, the pattern remains kind of similar to what the 6 to 10 day showed. So even though the heat does spread further east, the precipitation doesn't, and it stays more concentrated towards the northern western third of the country, while the Great Lakes, the northeast, and to the south remain pretty dry. And based on the models, I didn't show you the precipitation outlook because it looked pretty boring, because there's going to be really nothing going on. The only area of activity is going to be the northwestern third, and even that isn't going to be any really big storm or scattered showers and rain. And just to prove my point, I'll show you the GFS precipitation forecast. So again, this is the current time frame, September 7th, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner. And notice that, yeah, the eastern United States, central United States, rather dry. The only areas are the southwest, the northwest, to do with a little bit of monsoon moisture, especially early on. As you get further out in the forecast, notice we get some more Pacific moisture potentially moving in with some larger systems, which will contribute to that moisture. But yeah, notice The tropics active, but they don't really go anywhere. They don't reach further north. Maybe a few straggling systems across the central United States, but nothing of worth and nothing really of mentioning in a separate video of itself. Why, if that changes, I will obviously keep you updated. But for now, that's basically it. So it looks like a pretty nice fall weather pattern. A little bit of rain towards the west, and maybe southern Canada where the heat is the worst. So that could be the silver lining here. Otherwise, the main story is the heat. Summer is coming back. So I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. Take care. Bye.